Yeah, lies, damn lies, and statistics.
It hurt. I heard it.
Yeah. Okay, frickin' mouse. Sword. Oh, there it is.
Dave Simmons is running about 5 minutes behind. Dave Simmons. Okay. He's on his way.
Need a hand? All right. Oh, let's put my agenda over here. Oh, it's also got it. David is coming.
You have that file and I have this one.
What happened?
Just broke.
Jeez.
Well, I get her on cheap reader.
Jesse, my email makes sense about that one agenda item. If I see it going sideways, I'll go into executive session.
I saw grass in my yard today. I was pretty excited about it. I saw grass in my yard today. I was pretty excited, even though it's dead. I was excited to see it
I can't
there.
tell you how much.
I'm curious to see how my plants did.
Ordered 3 weeks
know,
ago. $900.
And
out.
maybe a really
I've
expensive
got
funeral here in a couple of months, you know, for
It's
all the
300
trees and
gallons.
plants we put out, you know.
Particularly if it's plowed snow, salt in it.
Screaming for it. I've never had this building in the winter, St. John's. I mean, with the HVAC system, an operating HVAC system. So, it is. Plus electric. Plus I got my own house. I don't even know what that's going to be. That's all electric. I feel bad for people right now around, well, anybody in the whole, it's really hard on, going to be hard on. These temperatures are well below normal, and they just it keeps going on and on. It snowed. Where? North Florida. I still live up there in Jacksonville.
Got it all. Yeah, it's nice to know you.
Wow.
Look like you've been outside, Wayne.
We get clothes every skiing in the West is not a day.
Oh.
We came home and got cold.
No.
Okay, council, I have 7 o'clock. I'm gonna go ahead and call the official, meeting of the Harpers Ferry Town Council, February 9, 2026, to order on this very chilly evening. And, in about 2 months, we're gonna be complaining about the heat. So, would you please rise? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
For all, for all.
A motion to approve the agenda, council? So I have a motion from Storm. I have a second from Chris. Discussion on a motion to approve the agenda. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Opposed, motion carries 6-0. Public comments, Kevin, are there any public comment?
There are.
Okay,
First one is Zach Morse.
Good evening, council. Thanks for everyone being here. I wanted to speak about agenda item I2 or III, discussion action regarding the first reading of ordinance 2026-01 business district uses. I just wanted to highlight that this is something that should be taken pretty seriously. You may or may not know that this business district use in question relates to the potential establishment of restaurants and prevent or would currently stands as a buffer, a 25-foot buffer between any physical restaurant establishment and an adjacent residential lot. If you look at the zoning map, this would potentially affect up to 17 lots currently zoned for business and 34 adjacent residential lots which border those business lots. And just want to highlight that before this goes to second reading, consider sending it to Planning Commission for study of any impact that might not have come up yet. Thank you.
thank you, Zach.
Wayne Bishop.
Oh, okay. I apologize again for my voice. I came home and caught a cold after 7 days of skiing. This was just dropped on me, so if I appear nervous, please excuse me. But the Parks and Rec, we're going to have our third annual film festival, March 21st. It's a one-day event at the Mather Training Center. And this year is a little bit different. It's going to be multiple short films, and we probably have a dozen filmmakers from around West Virginia and around the region, Virginia and Pennsylvania, that have sent us films to screen. And watch for more details. We will announce the names of all the films, their durations, and when they'll be shown coming up here pretty soon. But thank you. We're excited about it.
Thank you, Wayne.
That's all.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to agenda number 1. Is everybody with me? Okay, mayor's announcement. I have one announcement I want to make, and it's really good news, council. And Debbie, if I mess up on the dates and amounts, steer me straight. This involves the CDS, the Congressionally Directed Spending. So all 100 senators have the right to submit various things to the appropriations committees that they sit in or sit on and throughout the country. And our senior senator, Shelley Moore Capito, has been working with us for 2 or 3 years, at least 2 years, maybe 3 years, on a CDS for a continuation of our water development project. We thought we had it a go under fiscal year 25. And obviously things did not work out with 25. So then we were advised to roll it over by Senator Capito's staff to 2026, which we did. So we rolled that over, and in the amount of $1,051,000 and some change. And then there's a 20% match, which amounts to $1,262,000, and that would come or is coming from our governor. And so this CDS submittal was submitted at the level of, in essence, $6.3 million for our water enhancement project, which involved our water tanks. It involves a pressure increasing valve, if that's what it's called, and about 12,000 feet of water mains in the streets. And I'm pleased to report that the president signed this appropriation bill on January 23rd. So it is now law. I was contacted by the senator's office about this, and and there's a couple interesting things with this. We've been working on this a long time. The appropriations, when these CDSs come out, they come out in a format that looks like this. And so the format that Shelley Moore Capito sits in on is the Interior and Environment, EPA. So the submissions under her tutelage, I guess, came in from all over the country, not just West Virginia, but from all over the country. And I did some rough math, and 39 of these pages comes up to be 1,140 submittals from all over the country with a variety of different projects. And then what I did is I looked down at the approved amount. Where do you think we ended up?
In the
Any
bottom.
ideas?
Number 3.
In the bottom.
The dollar amount where we are.
In the bottom.
We came out very, very high. We came out number 11
Oh, wow.
out of 1,140 submissions from throughout the United States that were submitted
I lost that.
and approved. And I think that that is a remarkable accomplishment for Harpers Ferry. I will also say that in addition to that, we previously received $625,000 for our water meter project, and the Water Development Authority that we received 2 years ago, Debbie, somewhere around there. That was $3.6 million. So my point to be made on this, and to you, when you see residents and people, that we have received over $10 million in the past 2 years without any impact on rate increases whatsoever, because of the, I think, of the fine way that we made our submittals. And I think that we truly set out what our needs were. And I know Storm and Debbie were in a couple meetings with myself and Senator Capito, and I really think that we made a very good point with the senator and her staff when we talked about the $6 million latest grant. But what I want to do, there was an awful lot of man hours and woman hours that were spent on this to get us where we are. And I want to recognize that young lady right there for everything that Debbie has done. You have no idea. Maybe a couple of you have an idea, but you have no idea the amount of time that she has spent on these CDS projects that we submit year in and year out. And not only is it a matter of, it's not just a matter of filling out a form. It's you fill out the form and then there's an understanding. And I rely on her heavily. and she knows the system in and out. And because she's done it and she's got used to it, and you're very good at it, Debbie, and you do a marvelous job for this town. And everybody in this room should be very grateful to you, Debbie. Thank you. And that's all that I had. Recorder, Kevin, do you have any comment? Okay. Somebody had a couple announcements.
Oh, the National Park Service, I think, is next.
I'm sorry.
Is the National Park Service?
Okay. Hilltop is not here. Superintendent?
Good evening, everyone. A few announcements for you tonight. First, on behalf of park staff, I would like to thank the town for getting the streets cleared as soon as was practicable after the storm 2 weeks ago. This allowed our employees to return to work safely to the park to begin normal operations pretty quickly after the storm. So we are very grateful and appreciate all the work you do to make sure that your contractor is getting those streets plowed so that we can get our folks back to work. Thank you. A nesting pair of peregrine falcons has been seen on Maryland Heights. On February 15th, the park's annual nesting closure will be put in place. Portions of the heights will be closed to visitor use until mid to late July, while we all give the raptors a little privacy. The park's annual white-tailed deer management operations are complete in West Virginia. Operations on Maryland Heights will begin later this month. The park undertakes these operations to manage forest health. Overabundant deer overbrowse available tree seedlings and saplings in the forest understory, which threatens the long-term viability of the forest itself. Management operations help maintain the deer population at levels the forest can support and still flourish. Starting in early March, the park will begin roofing and other repairs to the Duran Block, 6 historic buildings on the south side of Shenandoah Street. Funded through park entrance fees, the project will address needed repairs, cleaning, and painting to the roofs and related upper-level architectural features such as dormers on those buildings. Scaffolding or mechanical lifts will be needed to conduct the work. Public access to those buildings will remain open. The project should take about 3 months. Finally, Byron Bridge Staircase, an update for you. The National Park Service expects the project to be completed by the end of April this year. There will be a period of 2 to 3 weeks in late March or early April when the bridge will be inaccessible. You will not be able to use it to cross the river. During that period, Harpers Ferry National Historical Park will activate its shuttle bus between the Cavalier Heights Visitor Center and the Lock 34 pull-off on the C&O Canal. If you need more information or want additional updates, please see C&O Canal's website for updates. And that's what I have for you this evening, gentlemen. Do you have any questions?
Questions, council?
Thank you.
We spoke during the snowstorm, and I talked about, so there we have the agreement. It's the Gateway Community Agreement we're going to work on at some point. I just wanted to acknowledge that there are some elements there that I think we talked about that are mutually beneficial. So I hope that gets going fairly soon. Yeah.
Yep, thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Thank you, Superintendent. Other announcements? Chris?
Yeah, a couple. The Canal Town Partnership meets, of course, monthly, usually in different towns up and down the Casino, but this month we're bowing to the weather and meeting on Zoom. So those meetings are always open to council members, park staff, and general public who has interest but this would be an easy month to attend. That will be 10 to noon on Wednesday, day after tomorrow. And if you would like an invite, send me an email. I'll be sure you get one. The other announcement, we had some sad news this past week. Harpers Ferry has lost a great long-term friend in Al Alsdorf. Passed away in Pennsylvania, where he and Allison had moved several years ago. I'm not sure how long. And start thinking about his connections to town. They are many. He was a former council member, probably, I would venture to say, the main force between the comprehensive plan, behind the comprehensive plan that we have until the new one is adopted. He and Allison ran the guest house for, I believe, around 15 years. Personally, they were so kind and gracious to Ed and me when we decided to open a business, a B&B in town, and just welcoming the community. Of course, he was involved in Civil War Roundtable. There wasn't much in the community that he was not involved in. So we lost a good friend.
Right. Very well.
I wanted to add, he was also he was a co-founder of the Harpers Ferry Historic Foundation, and I don't remember, with one of the mayors,
Jim Addy.
Jim Addy.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's quite
And
impressive.
as part of that, Christian, he was one of two, along with Don Alexander, I would say, a driving force in the early days of the Columbus Street project.
Yeah.
Probably that project would have not been undertaken without their push.
Right.
And he was always a volunteer at the 4th of July picnic in the park.
He was a really nice man.
He
When I
was.
first showed up here, he always treated me as a friend from the first time I met him. And that says a lot about somebody. You know, here's I'm just a stranger. And he was a very, very nice to me and
Yeah.
introduced me to a lot of people. He was a good guy.
Yeah, he was actually the first person that Gillian and I met when we were first looking for a town or for a place in Harpers Ferry. And at the end of our conversation, he was very generous with his time. I asked him do you have any advice for if you're going to live in Harpers Ferry, thinking we were going to get something about a grocery store or a restaurant? And he said, don't get involved with the politics.
You're not a
I'm
good.
glad I didn't listen to him.
As he sits at the table. Yeah. Thank you, the three of you, for those kind comments. Somebody else told me before the meeting. Go ahead, Storm.
Yeah, I know we have a long meeting, so I'll try to keep these brief. But I know I was personally bracing for a lot of trees to come down with the snowstorm, and to my knowledge, none did. And I do know that the tree commission had completed a lot of the work done, so I'd like to just give a shout out to them. We can't know for certain if that was a factor in not having the streets blocked up by fallen trees from the wind. But in prior storms we had. It's the first one. Second one, just briefly to acknowledge it's Black History Month, and that Harpers Ferry's history has included Black history. It's literally since day one, with the arrival of Beck, an enslaved woman who Robert Harper brought with him when he came to settle, and at its peak, 25% or more of Harpers Ferry's residents were Black and woven into the fabric of the community. And we only see echoes of that and the people and contributions from the communities of color. So during February, take some time to seek those stories out. And you can find them at the library and some wonderful books, or at the bookstore on Shenandoah Street run by the Park Association. So check those out. And then last, I talked about this 2 or 3 months ago, and think it's one of the most important things happening right now, that ICE is continuing to operate throughout Jefferson County. Their operations have traumatized people throughout our communities. Immigrants in their communities in which they live are part of who we are. They're valued neighbors and friends. And the targeting of people because of the color of their skin, how they dress, the language they speak is wrong, and it needs to stop. I've also learned that the city of Branson recently adopted a public safety and community information statement that made clear what their city's responsibilities are in this, as well as what rights all people in this country have. And I have reliable word that other municipalities are also considering adopting similar statements. I feel that Harpers Ferry should be among them, and I'd be happy to reach out and get guidance from some folks who are working on these statements to draft it, and would love if that can be included on a future agenda.
What was it called? The statement of what?
A public safety and community information statement. If you look up that phrase and Branson, you should find it. And then generally to the members of our community who've been targeted, amamos a nuestros vecinos inmigrantes. We love our immigrant neighbors. And I'm sorry, that's the only language that I can sort of speak that isn't English.
Thank you, Storm. Storm, reach out to the Ranson Mayor, Ken Suits, S-U-I-T-S, and advise Ken, tell Ken that I asked you to contact him. He's a good guy. He'll give you whatever he's got.
I wanted to add, I had work done on St. John's, and I'd already lost a couple contractors that worked for me, and they're already deported, just like, bam, like that, within a week or so.
All right, I'll get on.
Thank you.
Good workers too.
All right, regular move to approve. Let's go with the January 12 minutes that you should have, or a motion to approve or amend. Chris?
I had one concern, Kevin, I think it was 6A. Or 6E. I broke my glasses right before the meeting.
It was so upsetting. It was so upsetting.
But yeah, 6A, the motion on that appears that we amended the conflict of interest policy, but that we did not adopt it. And I don't have, or I have not listened to the recording, but having made the motion, certainly it was my intention to adopt the conflict of interest policy with those amendments.
I thought we adopted it.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah. I must have misread that.
So my suggestion would be that the motion reads to adopt the conflict of interest policy with the changes that you mentioned in the present motion. Yeah. And with that amendment, I move to accept the minutes
As amended?
as amended.
Okay, is there a second on the motion to accept? Christian, discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. January, correction, we do not have October 21 still, I assume.
I think that's already been approved.
We did?
We passed it in December.
Okay. Very good, I knew that. January 27.
I move to accept those as presented.
Is there a second? Second on the motion would be Jesse. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Historic Landmarks Commission, number 1, general report. I think, Wayne, you've got that?
I do. Kat's here also. If
Okay.
I mess it up. So, yeah, the Harpers Ferry Historic Landmarks Commission met throughout the year 2025, and we continue to operate under the authority granted to us. And the landmarks, we met during regular meetings, special meetings throughout the year to offer our recommendations to the Ordinance Compliance Office of Board of Zoning Appeals and to citizens seeking our recommendations with their permit applications. During the year, some of our members attended events and educational classes and to further our education on commission business. Again, we've reviewed multiple permit applications. Our recommendations to the applicants have been timely. The commission has strived to achieve positive outcomes, and we've had some great outcomes on some of the projects. The Weaver Gillison project, this is all in your packet, I think, but the 2025, a comprehensive structural assessment and boundary survey of the old Gillison House has been completed to submit to the town of Harpers Ferry for record. There are no further deliverables due to the town available from Innovative Community Solutions after the receipt of that closeout report that was delivered. This is a project that will continue based on the planned next phases and fundraising by the owners and their consultants and agents. And I think you have the report in your packet. Landmarks finished up its edits to Appendix A. And then, Mayor, I think you asked about new initiatives work for the Landmarks Commission. We will continue to do our best with our recommendations for new permit applications as requested, and we want to work on a current list of vacant buildings, residents, and businesses that are in violation of our codified ordinances, and this will include properties that are in disrepair, open to weather, or creating a blight in our town. This is critical as we're a federally designated National Historical District. This list will include the Landmark Commission's recommendations based on our authority granted to us by the codified ordinances of Harpers Ferry. So if there's any questions, either myself or Kat would be happy to.
I just have one, Wayne.
Okay.
And I don't know whether when I was communicating with you about this or not, I think I did. I'm curious about any type of timeline for bringing closure to this project. Is that possible to give us some idea of, the assessment is done, then is there a timeline for the next step? What would that next step be? When do you anticipate closure on this whole thing? I think there is maybe some interest in, is the structure going to be looking like that for 2 more weeks, 2 more months, 2 more years? Is there any timeline of events that could help us?
Well, I'll take a stab at it, and I'll let Kat finish.
Okay.
But as far as a hard timeline, I don't believe that we can provide that. I think that this is a project that has a story to tell, and as they raise funds to do the project, then they'll be able to establish milestone for the kinds of things that you're asking for. I have my own ideas about it, but that is not part of my report. But I don't think there is a hard timeline to ask of the owners of this, and I think that it'll move along with fundraising. So, I mean, I've been involved in a lot of fundraising projects, including Charles Washington's Happy Retreat, and I've been working down there for 10 years. They seem to be successful at fundraising, so I hope they do the same thing with this project, because it certainly would tell a great story here in our town if it was restored and renovated. Yeah.
Thank you. I do just want to address the timeline question, and Innovative Community Solutions is offering you guys the report, because that went directly to the mayor. So if you would like, I would pass those around to everyone. I will not make you staple them like teachers do. They are already stapled. So I do want to address the question of the project at large. My name is Kat McAteer. I'm the secretary on the Historic Landmarks Commission, and I've been asked to give you a report, an update, as Wayne just did. The house is a privately owned property, currently being supported by a local development partner, Innovative Community Solutions. ICS is working with the property owners on long-term rehabilitation efforts with the goal of eventually turning the property into a cultural and educational center here in the heart of town. This has already been a years-long project, one reliant on grant funding and public donations. It's not easy work. There's nothing simple or cheap about rehabilitating a historic property, as most people in this room know. First and foremost, as I stated, this project has been supported and guided by Innovative Community Solutions. ICS is a nonprofit development partner working with the family on this initiative. The organization pursues grants and funding on behalf of the project with the intention of rehabilitating the structure. Some of the contributing organizations include the State Historic Preservation Office, the National Trust, African American Centered Grants administered through the Park Service, thank you so much, and the Federal Reserve's Rural Investment Collaborative. I encourage you all to look into these institutions for further information about what they do. Now, for the timeline for HLC's work with the project, this is specifically HLC's work with the project. In 2024, Harpers Ferry, as represented by HLC, acted as a liaison between SHPO and ICS to secure a grant to initiate restoration of the structure. As of 2025, the requirements of the grant have been fulfilled. All monies came from the State Historic Preservation Office and were channeled through Harpers Ferry Town Hall, which acted as a fiscal agent. None of the town's own money has been invested into the project. The mayor's office, as well as the Historic Landmarks Commission, have received all updates and finalizations. You have those there, as well as an invitation to an upcoming event for Black History Month. Storm, thank you for bringing that up. This phase of the project has been completed, and moving forward, other sources of funding will be independent of the town, which relieves the town of its responsibility. In the past, I understand that there have been complaints about the house's appearance. The Weaver Gillison house has looked far worse. When I moved here in 2017, it was hidden behind mulberry trees and brambles. The family, property owners, and descendants of Buck Weaver have striven to be consistent with the town's request to keep the property up. Recent infrastructure changes have hampered their efforts to do so, and the hope is that moving forward, the town and the family will engage with more transparency. The bigger picture that I want to draw to your attention is that this is a National Historic District, and yet it is also still West Virginia. West Virginia has historically been and continues to be one of the most impoverished states in the nation. Harpers Ferry is the gateway to the Mountain State, and as such, we have a responsibility not to hide the diversity of income and population that makes up the cornerstone of West Virginia's culture. Our people do the best they can with the resources they have, even today. In the historic 1870s, Harpers Ferry wasn't much to look at. Our Wikipedia page has a few original quotes. A visitor in 78 found the town antiquated, dingy, and rather squalid. Another in 79 described it as shabby and ruined. While I would argue that today the town is neither shabby nor squalid, that was the reality at the time. There should be structures that reflect the economic realities of West Virginians, and there are properties owned by absentee landlords that do present a dingy and ruined facade. But to cast aspersions on town residents, property owners who are unable to personally finance high-end maintenance and restoration for their property suggests a lack of equity that might almost suggest discrimination. Harpers Ferry was a rough town and a working town, one that evolved to become a black town and a college town. There are folks in this room who know more about those character shifts than I do. But current interests have not been consistent about preserving those very real and often silenced elements of our history. The responsibility of the Historic Landmarks Commission is to support historic landmarks in this town, and that is exactly what the Weaver Gillison House is. This house tells a poignant and important story. It is one of the town's last remaining, if not the last remaining, residences that was built by hand by an emancipated black man. Without preservation, at the very least, we will lose a big piece of that history, rendering us complicit in the erasure of African American and, more importantly, American history. As for what the project's closure looks like, I would turn that question back to the community. You know the project's objective. What might you hope to see? The project represents the primary initiatives of the HLC, and our responsibility to the project at this juncture has ended. But nevertheless, the HLC continues to support historic landmarks and to help maintain the context of the town, not to mask uncomfortable realities or turn it into a developer's paradise. For myself personally, I look forward to elevating and diversifying our town's contribution to the living history of our nation. So that's what I'm asking. What do you think closure looks like? Because we have several open projects that do not have a realistic closure timeline. I would put that to you all. Thanks so much.
Any questions?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, the funds, you mentioned the funds were paid for by the state.
Yes, go back to
What about all the people that contributed to the project? Wasn't there like a GoFundMe page? Wasn't there?
Yes.
I mean, I personally gave some funds towards the project.
And if you look in the report, it talks about how Innovative Community Solutions then turned around. We had to match what SHPO gave us, and that's what ICS did with the funds that were contributed on the GoFundMe page.
So, just from a edification here, Is there a plan, or are we now at
What do you mean a plan? Tell me what you would like to see.
a habitable structure?
You'd like to see a habitable structure?
Mhm.
That is, I mean, that is ultimately the goal, is to have
Yeah,
a structure.
Well, that's what I want to hear. What's
What is
your
the
guys'
plan?
next step? Just more money, or
Oh, yeah, more, I mean, how
No,
many
yeah.
people have renovated a historic
well,
building?
me?
Right,
I'm well aware, but I'm just saying, is that the next step in the plan? Just more
Yes.
money?
yes,
okay.
absolutely.
So no, you don't know what you want to do with the money?
What we want to do with the money, perhaps Jamila, if you want to respond to that one.
Okay, yeah, I'd love to hear.
However, the portion of the plan that you need to be privy to was the property boundary survey and
Mhm.
structural assessment.
Mhm.
Moving forward, the plan that we come up with, the family and myself, is a private venture.
Okay. So,
It's not, unless, if you have, I'm sorry. You have a technical assistance grant, if you have a grant that you wish to further support the project with, we would at that point be partners in a partnership.
I'm just curious, because
A lot of people are curious, but as we move forward, if the plan changes, if the intentions change, whatever the family wants to do, that's their agency.
sure, I get that, but I'm
Right.
just so I'm asking here how the town could help.
Okay, that's a great question, because I know, for instance, in Charlestown, they have facade grants. I don't know if you have professional development grants. We're not a speculative development. We don't have deep pockets. We're going to continue to fundraise. I have one specific ask, if you turn to page on your the newsletter one, last page. I have a section called Section 4, Constructive Opportunities for Collaboration. That's exactly where you could help me. So the win-win path forward for us would be, let's see, Innovative, it might not be on this copy. Innovative is a technical assistance grantee with the Housing Assistance Corporation. And specifically what will be undertaken on that grant is creative placemaking and heirs property.
What's that?
Creative placemaking and heirs property. So the concept that creative placemaking can be an economic engine, the town could really lead that effort. You could show a good framework and role model on how you support heirs property into developing into some type of business model that is wealth generating for the family, and that the town also supports that and doesn't hinder it. For instance, cutting the grass. We want to be a good partner. That was the whole point of meeting with the mayor, to find out how ICS and the family could be good town partners. At your suggestion, we wrote an update for the whole community to understand the information, see the house, see the rendering. You'll see it right here. This is the plan. Yeah.
So
The plan is to get to that point.
okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Before this whole thing happened, when Guy was really trying to fundraise and we tried to put forward a park service grant and we got debriefed on that, we had not yet done step -1, step 0, step 1. We had not developed the historical significance. Those are reports, those are assessments, they're very layered.
Yeah, I'm very
approach.
familiar. Yeah. So I'm good.
If you have more money than the family had, you might have got there faster.
Right.
You might have got there at a clip of 5 by 5 by 5. You're getting there by half by half by half. And it's all fundraised. So to that point,
Are there specific asks that you have in here?
the collaboration when we work with HAC will be great. We're working with Dr. Stephen Suggs. That's a 5-year program. And it goes over not just the work that's going to be done in Harpers Ferry, but this is a blueprint that ICS has set out to establish for the Appalachian region. So what other houses look like the Weaver Gillison House in Asheville, in Southern Virginia? How do we develop and document a relationship with a local municipality and say, these are the stakeholders that are at the table. Here's how you talk to them. Here's some of the barriers that a family like this might have. It might be timelines, it might be money, it could be institutional knowledge, not even knowing how to talk to you or go to a bank to ask for money or learn how to fundraise. So just your working with us helps document how we work with Harpers Ferry. in a very historical town with very high standards for historical preservation.
You know, I'm asking these questions because I want the town to help. But, you know, the way this all works, and I'm learning this too, this is my first go with this, it's all very structured. So, you know, we got to know what we're going for, you know, so if you guys can help us understand what you need, there are people at this table who will help you get it. And you don't have to answer right this second. I'm just telling you, you know, there are people here, and I'm one of them, who will help. But we need to know what you want.
I'm learning on the job too. I plan to, that's why I came to the town to find out what looking like a good partner looks like. And I intend to come to more of your meetings just to hear. I think some other portions where we might be able to work together too are in the stormwater, because I've watched the water flow right in front of the house. I know that the up the hill, the gully is kind of covered, but right there in front of the house, it's just a ditch and the water runs like a river.
Yeah, actually, we should talk. And I feel like this is a good opening dialogue. I know this has been going on for a while. I definitely appreciate the work that ICS, has been doing. I know a lot about the history. I feel like it's it's a secret that shouldn't be a secret, how important the history is of that site in Buck Weaver. And that I agree with Jesse that if this is the opening of a dialogue to see if we can bring it to specifics where the town can help.
We'll get to the point where we'll definitely need a letter of support. We weren't at the point to pursue large funds, but now that we've done the due diligence and the groundwork to develop, here's the property, some real tangible things to put and make a stronger proposal, I'm ready to move forward with seeking larger funds.
You know what something just in general I think would be useful is the history is a secret. I'm sure you folks know it, but I can see it from my house and I know nothing about it except that orange cat that lives on the roof. And that's the only history I know of that place. And I would like to know more, and I'm sure it's available. But if you had a way to get that out to people, made that better accessible, let people know where they can find that history, it would be very valuable.
What would you use in order to do that? Like, what would be the avenue that you would suggest?
I like a link in the email, you know.
Okay.
You know, but you know, this is
Or like a QR code.
a QR code. Yeah, those are good too.
Okay.
You know, just I don't have access to that information. If I want to know anything about that house, I'm pretty much left asking the neighbor who knows exactly as much as I do.
I think that could be another specific ask, because one of the next things I would like to do is find level ground to put an interpretation, an interpretive sign there, so that as other people are walking by, I've gone through trying to get a larger sign on the house because the QR code's a little too small. But the BZA said that was not going to work. So what I would like to do, since that is their property, is put the sign on right there on the front of the house somewhere, so people when they're walking by can read and scan a QR code to get deeper information.
It's like the hotel house. I mean, they have a really nice setup right across from the hotel. I see it all the time. So why not put something like that in front of the house?
Well, I'll tell you what, if you guys will put some of that, things like that in writing, I will do everything I can to help, but I really got to have specifics and they got to come, you know, up the chain. And I'm not the only one here that's saying that, you know, because I would like to see it fixed, you know, for the family and for the town. Thank you very much for your time. And I didn't mean to put you on the spot. They're just questions that, you know.
Well, I'll share too that just Friday I did complete almost a 300-page grant for the African American Cultural Fund. So we will ask for your prayers and fingers crossed on that.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Wayne. Kate?
One final thing, Mayor, is we had a quick discussion about something that wasn't happening. And I thought when I joined Landmarks that our minutes were coming through and ending up in your packet. But I understand that's not the case. For the reason of moving the meetings along, if you had it in your packet, you'd know what we had done, but that wasn't happening. So maybe you can work on that, get our minutes in your packets, and then you'll know, even if we're not here to report, you'll know.
Good. Thank you, Wayne. Water Commission. General report from the PWA. Steve?
You know, just before Steve get started here, I'd like to say something else. I feel like I'm talking the whole meeting here. But, last week's budget finance meeting, we were told that the billing software over the transition has occurred and the system is live. So we're now using the new water billing software. And, that's a pretty remarkable achievement that nobody noticed. I've been part of several, in charge of a couple, and software transition projects, operational software transition projects, you prepare for them to go bad. Usually everything breaks twice. There's a lot of questions, a lot of excuses, a lot of money lost, and none of that happened here. This worked. It was, like I said, nobody even knew it happened except the people involved. And that's the important thing that I want to talk about here. And at the risk of making this the Deb show again, Deb and Kathy and Steve have done a truly remarkable thing. It's usually when these things go well, it's the consultants and the software vendors who get all the credit, and that's never the truth. The fact of the matter is, it's the people who know their jobs, know what they need from their tools, and know how to communicate that with the vendors and the consultants that make this a success. And here, that has been Steve and Kathy and Deb. And it's hard to overstate how well this has all been done, and that's all down to them. And thank you very much from this seat, and also thank you from that seat at the top of the hill there, because the new bill is much, much nicer.
So I thank you very much for those comments. I can't take credit for any of that. It's been Deb and Kathy that have been pushing this through and working it through. But thank you. I'll certainly pass that on to Kathy, and like I said, Deb, it's deserves huge amount of credit just for keeping track of, really, especially on the financial side, to make sure that this does hold up to pass muster with the auditors. And I don't want to jinx anything. You painted it very nicely, and I certainly hope that's the way it all. I certainly hope you feel that way next month. Okay. So I don't have water loss numbers this month because of weather. We again were not able to read the meters. They're now covered under crusts of snow and ice. But we did. I can report, at least in terms of what we produced. We produced about 5.5 million gallons of water. December we produced just under that, and November it was about 5.6. So we're producing about the same. The plant this month used about 33,000 gallons less. That's because we fixed a fire hydrant that's sitting right there in the plant that had, we took a rock out of the bottom. That was just blew my mind that actually, how that ever got in there. But anyhow, we got a good lesson on how to repair hydrants, and we were able to put that back together and shut off that leak. We've been dealing with a number of freeze-ups with this weather. It hasn't been, in terms of numbers, it hasn't been a huge issue. But certainly for the customers affected, it is a major issue for them. We're doing what we can to try to get those to thaw out. We have been dealing with some HVAC issues in the plant. Since Saturday, I can say that I can monitor the temperature in the plant on the production floor from my phone. That's helping me keep an eye on what kind of response we need. But we have had failures of equipment that GD&F, our engineering firm, has been engaged, and we anticipate that should be resolved through as a warranty issue.
Are those really the weather, like cold, or
the weather only in that we're pushing the units harder because of the weather. But the 3 units they've installed had some issues with the installation itself. It goes back a few years, and the weather is exacerbating, some complications with how they were installed. Okay. The meter replacement projects, we have been in the past month. We've had now a couple of meetings on that to kick that all off. I think we have a formal start date of March 1st. Yeah. But that doesn't mean we're not doing, work ahead. The meters should be, meter orders should be placed, are being placed. We're clearing out space to store the new meters as they come in. We met, a team of us met last Thursday to, specifically, we worked with Ryan Levins from the Park Service to get into a lot of the Park Service buildings and look at some of their large meters and what it's going to take there. We've got to look at some of the other large meters. So those take a little bit more engineering than the smaller meters. A lot of the pits have been kind of cleaned out before the snow hit. We still have a little bit of work to do in some of those. Some pits that don't have what we refer to as setters, where the meter is actually installed on the top of the setter, and then the setter connects to the incoming pipe and the outgoing pipe. That's Greenridge is working on all of that with us. But everything right now looks like we're on target to kick all this off once the weather clears. And with the intention, my hope is that we will not be reading meters for the July bill. That's my hope. Okay, we'll be reading meters in some proportion up until that point, but hopefully by July, and that includes integration in with the new billing package and the package that's actually going to read and store the data from the meters. I think. Oh, one more. So February 19th to the 21st, specifically Saturday, February 21st. But this is the 36th annual Berkeley Springs International Water Tasting. Those of you may recall that 2 years ago, we didn't do so well last year. The year before, it was the 34th annual, and we did submit our water, and we came in 5th in the municipal category. And this is truly an international contest. There are folks from New Zealand and many from California and pretty much all across the country that enter. And so we hope that we will be back in the realm of placing.
Do we have anybody representing us at that?
So there's not really representation, if you will. I think two years ago, when they announced that we were 5th, that's sort of like the honorable mention, and we were 1 point out of 4th. And I jumped out of my seat and I ran up and taking hands and all the rest, only to find out that's not what you're supposed to do. So everybody was rather amused.
Did you get the playoff music where the music swell?
Yeah, they do have that curtain or whatever, the backdrop that you stand in front of and get your photo taken and all the rest, but that comes later. So we have in the last 2 years, and I certainly would invite, the judging begins at 2:30 in the afternoon on Saturday, and that's various categories, but it all kind of rounds up with the announcement. The winners are announced starting at 8 p.m. on the 21st, and this is at the Country Inn in Berkeley Springs. And certainly, if you're in for a rather interesting time, it's a fun event. It's an event they started 36 years ago by the CVB to try to bring people into town in the middle of the dead of winter, and it brings people into town. A lot of bottled water. This is a big deal for bottled water producers. But so anyhow, and we will, there will be some of us. I'm pretty sure that Tom and Vita Hall will be there. He knows everybody, and we'll probably those who are around will probably try to grab dinner either there at the inn or someplace else. So, you know, if you're available and want to come by, I, certainly encourage you to do so. And that's it.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions for Steve?
I was gonna say, I have a relative that's went to that recently, and she says it is a hoot.
That's the word
A hoot.
yes. And they have a scrum at the
Wow.
at the very end for all the bottled water. It's pretty amazing to watch people just charge the grab bottled water, but that's it.
See one quick interviews. What that would.
So that is, see, that is the next agenda item, right? And the status. So I've saw this bunch of that. So I have we received, I think it was 6 or 7. I've distributed those out. Haven't heard back, in terms of how people feel. Should we just interview them all? My recommendation, I think, to the the team, the interviewing team was, I see no reason not to just interview everybody. Everybody did not necessarily meet the requirements laid out for the the job description position. We are filling 2 positions though, and I think we definitely have to fill the job description for that that one position. I think there's a little bit of latitude on the the second one's in terms of someone who may not necessarily have the established credentials, but might have the appropriate work ethic and aptitude. And so for that reason, I think that, I would encourage us to, interview the bunch. I still need to work with the office staff just in terms of, once I kind of get the go ahead, let's, bring everybody in, or if we want to narrow them at this point, I need to work with the office staff to then set up the, schedule and set up the, the interviews. Okay, so that's where we're at right now.
Okay. Any questions on that one? All right. Thanks, Steve. Discussion action regarding the appointment to the commission. You all have we received a letter of inquiry wanting to reestablish his membership, if possible, to the Water Commission, and that's Mike Rock. Patty, do we know his seat number and expiration?
Did I put it on there?
I don't see it. That's
Yes, I did.
I don't see it here, but I read his thing already. Must have been some.
It's in the confidential set.
That's right. Yeah.
Currently in number
6.
6. And it would be
Can go
another
up to 7.
3-year term. So it would be December 31.
One from the county, 1 from, or 2 from Oliver.
Seat 6.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
December 31, 28. Okay, so we have received 1 letter of nomination. I don't have any others, but I want to go ahead and open up nominations to fill seat number 6 that would expire 12/31/28. Are there any nominations, Chris?
I nominate Mike Rock.
Any other nominations? Hearing no others, nominations are closed. The chair will do a roll call. Chris?
Aye.
Jesse?
Aye.
Storm?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Christian?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Water Commission report. Newly elected Water Commission member is not here. Planning Commission, Zach?
Good evening. Planning Commission met last month for the first time this year, January meeting. We did elect officers. Well, there's no change. Emily Eads is still our secretary. Jesse is our vice president, and I'm president. You're given the report as such. Most of the meeting, it lasted almost 3 hours, was talking about the comprehensive plan. We have a couple new members, and that is good and bad, but mostly good. We get fresh eyes to look at something we've all been working on for 2+ years. And that has led us to a few assignments, some homework assignments to do some edits for clarification mostly. So shout outs again to Amanda McDaniel, Jesse, and Paul Mayhew, who's done what he called a white glove edit, going through the latest draft and making sure all of the small editorial details make sense. That's been sent back to Christy DeMuth at WVU for reiteration. I think this will be version 4, maybe. But it's close. My personal goal is to try and get, if not the final draft, whatever draft we work on, or we're meeting next week. So whatever draft we come up with at the end of our meeting, I'm going to ask for a motion to at least send it to town council to get your input as well. We still have a public hearing process, but it's been long enough. I think that the longer you'll have to ingest it, the better. So hopefully it'll be on your desks or in your email addresses soon. We also did discuss and I guess approve for Fillmore Street. There's the development of 4 lots at the southwest end of Fillmore Street, and the only complication there was that there's a single driveway that is going to support what could eventually be 4 houses. Initially, construction of 2, and the county has asked that that driveway receive a name, so that way for future 911 issues or delivery, the house would have an address, because you can't have all 4 houses being Fillmore Street as they're connected from a different. So that was approved, and I believe construction is going to move forward in accordance with the project proposal. I think that's all for planning. I think we always mentioned the FEMA floodplain management is still moving ahead. I think we're still waiting on FEMA. I haven't heard any updates, but we're ahead of the game. So we're good on flood insurance and our flood ordinance. Once we hear back from FEMA, you've had a first reading, so your second reading will happen. And I also just wanted to thank Christian, Chris, and Kevin for a great ordinance compliance meeting, which I attended on behalf of the Planning Commission, chatting about the clarification or definition of the green part of our zoning map. So that's, I think that'll be coming to your desk next month. But that was really good discussion. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions?
How do we name a street in this town? How does that happen?
So it's not. This one's not a street. It's a driveway.
We name driveways.
We typically don't. This is very complicated. This is a request from the county specifically for 911 safety. They needed it to have a name.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, typically to name a street, the planning commission would suggest something that would come to town council. There'd be an approval process if we're talking about a street. In this case, the landowner went to the county, had the form filled out with several potential names. Planning commission blessed that none of them were offensive or historically inappropriate, and the county selected one that was not in conflict with any other street or lane names in the county. So it's clear and safe.
What was it?
I don't remember. Do you, Jesse? There were 3 options. One was Armory, one was Foxglove Drive.
I was thinking Foxhaven, but it's Foxglove.
Foxglove.
Yeah.
I believe it's Foxglove Drive or Foxglove Way. It's not a street, so it does not have street attached to it, and it won't appear. It's private, so there's no obligation for the town to have a right of way or maintenance.
I thought it was going to be Vaughan Avenue.
So it doesn't exist yet, but it will exist at the southwest end of Fillmore. A bunch of trees were cleared. There's 4 housing lots, or 4 residentially zoned lots. So it's potential for 4 houses.
My house across the street.
Yeah.
Anything else for Zach? Zach, stay up there. Tree Commission.
All right. Tree Commission. I'm out here representing Tree Commission. Tree Commission met a couple of months ago.
No, it was last month.
Just last month.
Yeah.
We elected officers. I reluctantly.
Reluctantly
nominated and accepted position of president. Robert Nelson is vice president, and Rebecca Wolf is our secretary. And I just want to say thanks to Christy Huddle, who's been the president for many years. Without her input, Tree Commission would not have functioned or continued to exist for a long time. And back to Storm's comment at the top of the meeting, I think part of the reason we didn't have any major tree falls was that the tree removal plan was implemented and taken care of a week or 2 just before that storm.
Yeah, I know.
If you haven't seen, Christy has photos. There were several large silver maples, a couple on Fillmore and a couple on East Ridge, that were essentially hollow. So if they had not come down, especially in the wind we just had this past week, there could have been some damage associated. So
There
that's
were no usually any power outages, right? I mean, no major power outages from.
not that I'm aware of.
No,
Um,
I'm sure I set my clock. No, it's not this time.
I think that there's a couple of things. The mayor sent an email to liaise with the state DOH about tree maintenance and potential future works within the state right of way on Washington Street, which we're looking into. There were some questions about the stump removal, which I haven't followed up on, but it's either funded as part of the current tree process or it will be taken care of in the spring. But it's on the radar. And our Arbor Day celebration, we set a date for. It's a Saturday, and I don't remember the exact date, but it's the Saturday just before Arbor Day. It's in April. We'll be planting a tree. So more details on location and type of tree to come. And we're also looking into, nothing official yet, but we just removed several trees, and we're aware that we're trying to maintain green space and the canopy in town. So we're looking at options, potential grants that would allow us to plant more trees to replace the older ones. Some of them were very old. They're over 100 years old for those silver maples. But as we can see, once they've been cut down, they were structurally compromised, so it was safe. And ultimately, the right decision.
April 25th
Thank you.
at noontime.
At noon. So if you want to help plant a tree or celebrate the planting of this tree, there might be two, but I think it's definitely one.
Last year we did 2.
More details soon. So keep your calendars open.
If you want to help dig a hole,
It's exciting work.
that's the hard part.
Will there be shale?
Any questions for Zach?
Shale. Yeah.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
Good job. Parking committee discussion action regarding an appointment to the parking committee. We've been recruiting for how long now, Christian?
Half a year.
Yeah. For a vacancy, to fill a vacancy on parking committee. You should have in your packet, we have had one individual express an interest, and that is Mary Love. With that said, the chair will open up nominations to fill a vacancy on the parking committee.
I nominate Mary Love for that position as a resident in the parking committee.
Okay. Are there other nominations to fill the vacancy? Hearing none, nominations are closed. Chris?
Aye.
Jesse?
Aye.
Storm?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Christian?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Discussion action regarding a mailer and newsletter announcement regarding parking permit enforcement. Is that yours, Jesse?
It is. I think Kevin had a question
I'm
about.
sorry, Kevin.
The expiration date for that season?
Yeah, Patty.
Those are, the terms are 2-year
I think
terms
it's 2
at
year.
this time. And
Yeah,
they're staggered, and
yeah.
it was taking my position, whatever.
Really?
No. I moved out of the residential slot into the town council
Town
slot.
council slot.
So,
Term expiration, like something.
oh,
I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
Well, we'll look into it. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
that's a good question.
Jesse?
Yeah, so in the November Town Council meeting, we discussed parking ordinance enforcement and communicating the intent to begin parking enforcement on all streets and to remind people to get their parking permits. This was especially important for me, is the reason I brought it up, because I didn't know that we still had a parking program.
What?
Yep, I had no idea, and I'm not the only one. And so that's how all this came to be. Was like, wow, I didn't know we were still doing that, but we are. And the what I'm proposing, what we discussed then actually was communicating with residents and business owners that we are still doing that, and we're going to begin enforcing that on all the side streets per our ordinances. The only real variable is when universal parking enforcement would begin. And what I was going to propose is, we put an announcement in the newsletter and then send out a mailer to residents and businesses. And 30 days after the newsletter announcement, we would begin fully enforcing our existing parking ordinances. So if there's no permit and you're no decal or no hang tag and you're parked on the street, you will be ticketed.
And hopefully all you hear are good examples to other residents in the community. Hopefully you've gotten your parking permit.
Didn't we put it in the newsletter? I thought it was in the newsletter.
I thought it was.
And well, yeah, but this one,
You gotta be the rep. You
yeah,
gotta
this is
do it.
gonna be a little more, just a reminder, this is more of a,
I just got mine last week, so.
Sanctions.
yeah, final warning, you know, and, you know, 30 days after we would, begin picking on all side streets. And, you know, the last year was the first, last summer was the first summer where it was ever really a problem for us. We've always been able to find parking in front of our house. Last summer was the first time that didn't happen consistently. You know, there were a couple of times, and I know that's not just me, that's other people on our street. And it would make everybody's life a lot easier. I know the police, they don't want to drive up there and ticket, you know, cars that they're not familiar with if you've got a friend or somebody over. But we have hang tags for that, just expressly for that purpose.
Guest tags, yeah, you
Yep.
can get up to 2 guest tags.
Yep.
$5 each.
And want to start using them. So I moved an announcement informing every home and business in town that parking enforcement throughout town will commence on whatever 30 days after the newsletter release date is.
Second from Storm, discussion. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries 7. Kevin, you okay with that motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but.
Okay, motion carries 7-0.
Email it to
Jesse, could you work with Christian on the wording on that?
I was just going to give the whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
give the whole thing to him. Give him something to do. All right,
give me something to do.
the Marette Code Enforcement Officer. The story with this is Kevin, I'll turn it to Patty in a minute. Kevin has an issue that he runs into, seems to be quite regular, regarding people that have a building permit, project permit. And Patty will explain what the issue is. Patty?
And just go back to your parking, the policy is on the town website under the police tab, but we need to get the most current one out there.
Yeah, we approved it already. This council already approved 26.
Just, we need to send it to Kevin, please, so Kevin can upload it.
I get it.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so I'm here to speak on behalf of Kevin Hamilton, the code enforcement officer. And this is about Article 1303.07B. And this is about zoning compliant permit applications, the validity period and the extension period. And the language is not very clear. And what we need to know what happens if a project is underway and the 36 months lapse. You get a permit for 2 years, you can get an extension for another 12 months. So after 36 months, the project's still going, what happens? We did have a contractor reach out to us for that answer, and we weren't quite sure how to handle it because there's nothing in the ordinance that gives us any direction. So what Kevin is asking is to be put on the next ORC meeting so that we can visit this and either clarify where we're going or add some language where we might want to go, because we have no direction.
I might be able to give you guys some more, because in the environmental permitting world, there's a continuous construction language that's in those laws, and you can request extensions and up to so many extensions, kind of thing is how it's done.
Yeah, but after 36 months, we have nowhere to go forward.
That might be, yeah.
So we do let it just go on forever, or
No,
if we have had the project,
I mean, what happens is you hit the end and you reapply.
that's what we were thinking,
Yeah.
but we haven't, it doesn't say.
Yeah,
So we need
yeah.
some tighter language in the ordinance.
Okay.
Okay.
Try to find that.
Storm?
I move to commit the question about Article 1303.07B to the Ordinance Review Committee.
Second on the motion, second from Chris, discussion. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed, motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Patty. Treasurer's report, review and approval of financial reports, December 2025. Debbie?
Okay. Mayor and council, these financials closed December 2025, representing 50% of the year. This is budget revision 4 in the general fund, fund balance of 1.2 million. Leaves us at about 60% in our overall income. And we are 27% in expenses. So we're doing well there. We're going to make an adjustment coming up that addresses a little bit of this, but we'll more fully address the overages in income when we get to building the fiscal 27 budget, which will be next month. Waterworks billings are approximately 42%, as is overall income, and expenses are still holding steady at that same amount, 42%. Division 1, which will be the actual budget in next month's report, will include some adjustments to the expenses. And since the income and the expenses are still holding steady, even though under the bar, I'm actually a little relieved at that there's not motion. That gives me indication that some of the reasons we cited, which might be more accurate readings that are coming in now, things like that, are actually part of what's going on. We're getting some consistency there. So just because we're under budget doesn't necessarily mean that's a bad thing.
But do I wait till the end? Sorry.
Go ahead.
My concern is like we're under because we don't have employees, and we're going to hire them in the second half of this year. We're going to be higher with our expenses.
So the billings are driven by meter readings.
Right.
We're going to be installing new meters in March. There will not be employees required to read those meters. They will be coming in by radio read.
I'm saying our expenses are going to go. You have expenses are at 42. They're not going to be 42 when we hire these 2 new people. Is what I'm saying. But that the reason we're low on the expense side, I think, is because we haven't had employees for.
Well, you have to remember that even though we didn't have employees, there have been people doing their work, and there've been and so I
being
mean,
paid.
Yeah.
Greenwich.
Yeah. Well,
So
renew comes out of renew and replace. Some of that came out of renew and replace, but there's people who have had to work extra hours because there are people not doing right. And so, and we also have hired. It's not showing in this month, but our contractor came back to work in the water plant to help support the absence of some of the people. So
there are expenses for that.
And we budgeted for that too. So, I don't know that we can do anything else except get those meters in the ground, regardless of the concern. You know, I don't. At this point, it doesn't really make sense to, you know, do any other action except that. So that is what's going to give us a true understanding of where we are and allow us to project more accurately and adjust that income number if it needs to be adjusted.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you can get them in sooner than more. I mean,
are moving as fast as we possibly can at this point.
Yeah.
There we really are.
Yeah. Anything else on a financial?
I move to approve the financial reports as presented.
So is there a second, Chris, discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Approval of invoices and purchases, Debbie.
So I'll highlight just a couple of these. They're all sitting on the table there if you need them. The Oracle elevator invoice will be covered in more detail under item 6H7. Oh no, sorry, that's 12. Antietam Tree and Turf covers the contracted work for the tree grant. We will be receiving $9,000 back in federal grant money to offset that. The Kuzi invoice that you see in there is a quarter's worth of billings that come monthly for the new billing system. There's an asterisk next to that on the sheet for approval because I would like this added to the pre-approved purchasing threshold list since it's going to be a recurring quarterly expense. The Cornerstone invoice covers January 23, 24, 25, and 26. There are more days of billing that will come forth.
I move to approve the invoices and purchases as presented.
Second, Chris, discussion. All those in favor of the motion to approve? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Debbie.
Do you need a motion now on moving that over the QC, or are we doing that later?
No, we can do it in next month, yeah.
All right, budget and finance, discussion action regarding WDA project and approval resolution number 15.
Yes, so this is resolution number 16, for work performed by GD&F and TerraWorks, after which that's done. There will be about 258,000 remaining in the CNB Bank bond. Of that, the next slated thing will be Gilbert Street, which will be conducted by Greenridge and GD&F. And after that, those funds are assigned. It'll leave about 23,000 for other projects. And currently, the chlorine room in the plant is looking like the most likely contender. Deb, is there more?
No, except I have to read the resolution. Right. Okay. So this is resolution 16 of the town of Harpers Ferry approving invoices relating to construction and other services for the water project and authorizing payment thereof. Whereas the town of Harpers Ferry has reviewed the invoices attached here to and incorporated herein by reference in relation to the construction of the water project funded by the West Virginia Water Development Authority, EECG funds, and CNB Bank Construction Trust, and funds as follows, and are the items for which payment is proposed have been requested from another source, that each item for which the payment is proposed to be paid is or was necessary in connection with the project and constitutes a cost of the project, that each of such costs has been otherwise properly incurred, that payment for each of the items is proposed is due and owing. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Council of Harpers Ferry that the payment of the attached invoice as summarized below are hereby authorized and directed. So GD&F from CNB funds, $4,345.02, and TerraWorks, $156,732, and that pays out their retainer. So we are complete with that.
I move to approve WDA grant and resolution number 16 as submitted.
Second from Jesse, discussion. All those in favor of the motion to approve, opposed, motion carries 7-0.
And then the second part is that Gilbert Street project. Some more detail to share about that.
So you have as the second attachment for this item, you have a summary of the construction costs from Greenridge along with the bond, and then inspection and construction administration. So together those add up to $225,844.50. We are really hoping that the construction inspection costs will go down, because if we can get this moving in the spring, we may be able to share resources with a project that's going on with another inspector in a nearby town, and that would really reduce that number. And it's not a very extensive project, so it is very viable this could happen. So what we are looking for now is approval of this plan to move forward so that this can go under contract and be ready to move forward as soon as the weather breaks.
Storm.
I move to approve up to $225,900 for GD&F to execute the contract for the Gilbert Street Waterworks project using residual CNB bond funds of the WDA grant program, and authorize the mayor to sign the notice to proceed upon receipt.
Second on the motion, second Chris, discussion. All those in favor of the motion to approve, opposed, motion carries 7-0. All right. Storm.
Yes, the water meter CBS project. We had the summary from the PWA, but as said, we're not entirely done yet. One thing that we do want to make sure is that the public is aware of this project and that all these funds have gone into it, resulting in no increase to the ratepayers. Thank you again to the mayor and Deb for making that happen. So it's appropriate. Oh, sorry. I needed to edit my thing because a lot was already said. So what Budget and Finance is recommending is to have a sign and brochure produced. That the sign would go up. There's currently one for project number 1 of the water distribution project over by the visitor center. So there'd be another sign next to that, as well as just a little brochure that would go out to ratepayers, just explaining that this money has been secured and is being put to use. So I move to have a sign and brochure produced to notify the public about the CVS meter project to be placed at the CVB adjacent to the sign for project number 2.
There's second on the motion, second, Chris, discussion? All those in favor of the motion? David?
No, the brochure, do you think you want to tell people that their bills may go up?
Yeah, we will mention that. We're
Okay.
gonna, there's a lot of work that needs to be done in that, and one thing I want to say is that this is a requirement of the EPA, that one or the other or both is done, so this will be paid for under the project.
Okay.
We'll talk about the features, we'll also talk about the fact that, you know, your rates aren't gonna go up, but that you may see a change in your bill, and it may go up. The other thing that we will need to cover is flushing of everybody's house when the new meter goes in. You know, they're gonna have to stop and pull the old one out and put the new one in. So there will be instructions going on about how to restart the water in your house, just to make sure that, you know, you don't catch any debris from lost pressure that occurs in the line. So there will be a couple of things coming out. So stay with that.
You know, David, just for your information, a lot of times the granting agency will tell you what to put on the sign.
Yeah.
And we do have to use the EPA logo, and I've been trying to get something from the governor's office to let us know how they want it worded, but we will acknowledge the governor's office as well.
Yeah. Any other discussion? Now, all those in favor of the motion? Opposed, motion carries 7-0.
I want to add one last thing on this project before we move on, is that Steve did mention that, you know, there is still some meter pit work that needs to be done. And you closed out that one big invoice that took care of a great deal of them. But that other part hasn't quite been budgeted yet from anywhere. So that may end up coming out of renew and replace. We'll circle around when we get there.
So the meter guys are gonna do that also?
No, we have to get that done. We have to do that
that's
again. But Green Ridge is waiting for an updated list from Steve.
Yeah.
Number 3, discussion action regarding CDS funding for future years.
Once again, we got the word about the fiscal year 26, which is exciting. For that, one of the projects that got moved in that had been delayed before was Spring Court in Bolivar. It had been an alternative, and it turns out we do not have an established easement for that. So GD&F is going to be doing a remapping, including noting easements. So what we need is to consult with our water attorney, Hoy Shingleton, about what's needed to obtain that easement, and also talk with Leo. And it could be that this is an easy thing, that it is an established fact, and there won't be anything fancy that will have to be done. And then the second part of it, yeah, Deb, I need some help
Okay,
on this one.
so in that one, what we're looking for is a motion to authorize our attorney to.
Let me go ahead and do that.
Go ahead, yeah.
I move to authorize the town's water utility attorney to explore property easement solutions for Spring Court in Bolivar.
Second from Jesse, discussion. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed, motion carries 7-0.
All right, so the second part of that is, while we are really jumping for joy for all the monies that we're getting that are no cost to the ratepayers, we're not done with the distribution system work that still needs to be done from the original project that was started all the way back in 2009. So this brings us to bringing a manifestation, the next phase of that. So you have in your packet 2 opinions of probable cost. One is for fiscal 26, which is the one that has just now been approved in Congress. You can see some of the details of the items included on there. And then the next sheet is the probable cost for fiscal 27. And so what we're looking for tonight is your approval of that as the fiscal year 27 project that I will turn into the state water drinking revolving fund. And I will also apply to congressionally directed spending grant monies for that. That will, in its entirety, at this amount, that will require a match of 20% of that $4 million of $800,000. And that is something that at this point we do not have a source for matching. So when we get there, that could potentially require a rate increase to finance. So what we're looking for now is your approval of that opinion of probable cost for fiscal 27.
I move to approve the opinion of probable costs for fiscal year 27 for phase 4 water distribution project.
There's a second on the motion, second from David, discussion. All those in favor of the motion to approve? Opposed, motion carries 7-0. Where were we? Revision 5?
Maintenance of mains.
Oh, maintenance
four.
mains. Discussion action regarding maintenance of mains contracting.
Yeah, so the additional water pit work has been mentioned already. We've also already approved $30,000 to cover the leak work that is inevitable that comes up from freezing and everything else. Another thing is we currently have an agreement with Green Ridge to be our on-call maintenance contractor. That was a year with an year of option, so we're going to need to renew that, and I'll have a motion for that. And then just as a heads up for after this year, if we exercise the option, at that point, we'll need to bid it out again, and there are the other people that can bid to be the on-call contractor. But right now, I move to exercise the option for an additional 1-year term of the maintenance of mains contract with Green Ridge Contractors to begin February 12, 2026.
For a second on that motion, second from Chris, discussion. All those in favor of that motion? Opposed, that motion carries 7-0.
Asia Brown 7. Right, we're on the next slide.
Yes, we are.
Well, line, discussion and action, general fund, version 5. Just broadly speaking, all in all, the general fund remains in healthy shape. Revenue, sales tax, and parking meter have been up, which results in the surplus. And there are some expenses that are a little higher, including the parking attendant, contracted services, and snow removal. That might need to be revisited. Deb, do you have other items?
Yeah, just that the sales tax and the parking meter revenue were kind of chunky numbers to be able to hit and project well into next year. They're well above where they normally are. So those were the only ones we spent time on right now. And the expenses are covering mostly the additional contracted services in town hall. I think you said that. Yeah, crossing our fingers that we don't need to move that snow number again up. Look forward to moving it down.
Yeah, we are about 3 years.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
I move to approve general fund revision number.
Wait. That's a resolution. I haven't asked to read that. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah.
So this will be a roll call resolution. At a regular session of the municipal council of Harpers Ferry, held on February 9, the following order was made and entered. The revision of levy estimate budget for the town of Harpers Ferry, the following resolution was offered. That subject to approval of the state auditor as ex officio chief inspector of public offices, the municipal council does hereby direct the budget to be revised prior to the expenditure or obligation of funds for which no appropriation or insufficient appropriation currently exists, as shown on the budget revision number 5, the copy of which is entered as part of this record. The adoption of the foregoing resolution has been moved by.
I move to approve general fund revision 5 as submitted.
There's a second from Christian. It's a roll call?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to take a roll call. If you agree with the revision, yay. If you disapprove, no. Chris? Jesse?
Aye.
Storm?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Christian?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All right, discussion action regarding town website.
We have general fund fiscal year 27.
I'm sorry. Discussion action regarding general fund 27 budget.
Yes, so this is the grand budgeting process that is new to 2 of our council members that culminates on April 21st with April 15th.
No, April 21st is the
21st.
laying of the levy. That's the goal line.
And that's state mandated. There's no getting out of that one. Must have a quorum in order to pass that. And there's a whole sequence of things that we do to get there. The first one is that the funding letters go out to organizations that request funding, and I believe that those go out.
They're gonna go out tomorrow,
Great.
once you approve the schedule.
Yep. And then Budget and Finance worked out dates that will work for Budget and Finance, but there may be a town council role. There is a town council role in it as well. So on February 23rd at the regular Budget and Finance meeting is when we are going to,
Largely pull together the 27 budget.
yes, so I have the framework for it before we bring in out petitioning organizations who are requesting funding. That will be on March the 12th.
Mhm.
And for that, in the last year, the council on the whole wanted to participate in that. And we accommodated that, we did that. We can do that again this year. But there are two important things about that. One, we must have a quorum for this meeting. So prior to that, Budget and Finance, just the three people. If council on the whole wants to do that, then we must absolutely have a quorum of 4. Otherwise, we cannot hold that meeting. The other thing, it is a very long day. It is about 8 hours. Can't promise there will be pizza for it, where it is listening to each of the folks, internal and external, that want funds from the town. So I guess that's, before moving forward with the rest of the schedule, I'll ask, what is town council's inclination? Should we plan to do that as a Budget and Finance meeting, in which case we would report out what has come to us, or does council on the whole want to participate?
And if council wants to come to the Budget and Finance meeting, you can sit in the audience and hear, but you can't interact as the Budget and Finance committee would.
I'd like to consider deferring to the Budget and Finance Committee. I mean, I participated in it last year, and it was, a bear.
Well, it's my thought as well. Traditionally that's the way all that kind of thing would go, and then Budget and Finance would move it on along. And I think that goes a long way also towards because everyone is so involved with so many organizations, things going on. It kind of reduces the chance for people accusations of malfeasance and all that good stuff. It's just a straightforward Budget and Finance operation. That's my opinion.
Let me ask it this way: does anybody who is not on Budget and Finance have a burning desire to be part of the process and willing to commit to be at that meeting?
I can tell you, being on Budget and Finance before, let me tell you, you gotta be a masochist to go through this. So you got 3 that are doing it. I'm telling you.
God love you.
Yeah, that's okay. I think we have
You got your guidance.
Then on February 23rd, March 12th, Budget and Finance will meet to hear of all these things. And of course, all town council members are welcome to sit in and listen. Then on either March 17th or 18th, still working out, there will be a Budget and Finance special meeting to do the deliberation about what was presented in light of revenues, projections, and other expenses, and what we must distribute to get the bulk of that budget done. And then March 24th or 25th will be town council review and approval. And then it must be posted to the paper of record, the Spirit. That will be March 27th. It needs to be submitted to the state auditor's office March 31st. And then, assuming it all passes muster, then it would be April 21st, town council meeting for laying the levy.
So it would be good to have, if you can, at this time, if you have a preference about March 24 or 25, that would help us. It's not absolutely necessary. I will certainly be following up if you can't decide now.
What's the, do you know the days of the week?
Tuesday and Wednesday.
I'd prefer the 24th if possible.
And in the, what, do you have a time of day?
Yeah, no sooner than 5:30, if that's okay. I think, right?
What's the 24th meeting on, Debbie?
That would be to review the budget before it goes in the paper.
I know why he's saying. So I didn't hear you, David, what were you saying?
March 24th,
In
Tuesday.
In the evening.
Yeah, like 5:30 or 6, something like that. Yeah.
Kevin, are you good for that? Do you think?
Should be.
Okay, we'll go with that one.
I should be as well.
Okay, good. And then the 21st, laying the levy, that's usually, it's technically a public hearing, but
Yeah,
it's
third.
usually
April 21st.
April
like I think.
21st, and it's usually a pretty short one, because you will have knocked everything out in, in the March 24 meeting. Any questions, it'll be usually the same, so.
I can send this around to everybody once it's locked.
Okay, all right.
What time is that one for?
You can set
We
the
didn't
budget.
make a time
Oh, not
choice.
yet.
It's the schedule.
Okay, what about on the
5:30 on
24th?
that
We get the budget ahead of the 24th.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, please send that
Oh, yeah.
out.
All right, Storm
Um,
and Chris.
it struck me that with some of the discussion about the Weaver Gillison house at the beginning, that there should be maybe some communication, or maybe there already has been, on budget requests.
For funding, send them a budget request, a funding request, okay, sure.
David.
Another question. What kind of comparisons do we get when we get it from you guys? Like, do we see average over the last 10 years versus what you're doing? Like, do we just see last year or this year? Like, what kind of reference do we get when we get the budget information?
So the basic one is year over year. For the past few years, I have put together like a 10-year sort of broader look.
Okay.
But it's not down to the budget line level.
It's more global about categories of spending and income.
Okay.
So if you have a particular something you'd like to see, why don't you get in touch with me and I'll see if I can do some shaping to what we do, or if we're doing it already.
Yeah.
Why don't you call me?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So town website. Financially, funds were previously allocated for the website overhaul. It's possible there could be additional costs for integrating other services. There's nothing known at this time, but that's a heads up on that. And then one thing that we are working on, the town does not currently own or directly control its URL, and we're in the process of securing a .gov URL for that. And then Jesse, do you have more details to go over on the website?
Yeah, I do. So the next big thing we've got going on is a formal conversation with Revise. They are the website vendor, and that's going to be to restart the project, develop a milestone-based timeline for getting it out, and establish cost expectations and controls. That leads directly into this, which is the requirements gathering phase, where we'll be speaking with all the users, hearing kind of what they need. And we want to have the cost controls established prior to that, so that when we bring them things, we know how the costing is going to look and go, and we're not terribly surprised at the cost. Lost my line there.
Join the club.
We talked about a committee to focus solely on the website, and that's it. Just push it on through. We did not get I did not get the necessary documentation to do that at this meeting, but it'll be available at the next meeting.
Okay.
And then the last thing, just for everybody who's listening, is when we come around to gather requirements, it's that's where the rubber really meets the road on all this. Requirements, once they're stated and communicated to the vendor, are extremely expensive and complicated to change. So when we come around, go ahead and now start thinking about what you would like the website to do and how you see that working. The better we can communicate that, the better we can anticipate the cost of that and the feasibility, and the better chance that you will have a desirable outcome, that you'll get what you want. You know, ideally, we would like to see this run as smoothly as the water billing software transition had gone, and I believe we can do that. And I'm glad they got to work the bugs out there, you know, on the communication and stuff. So now we can take advantage of that knowledge internally and make this just as smooth.
So does that mean, or are you open for ideas and?
Yes, we're open to them, but we will come to you for that list.
Okay.
Anything else for Jess? Okay. Storm Henry Clay?
Henry Clay, that's also Jesse, if you want to
Okay,
leave
Jess.
everybody on that.
I received a list of, so a couple things. One is we talked about at the last meeting a couple weeks ago, the kind of changing tack on how we're approaching Henry Clay. We are pushing the project back out to some smaller vendors to get feedback from them and solutions that are less comprehensively engineered to see if that's a viable way to deal with this project. In the meantime, we are putting flexible traffic delineators and those orange posts that screw to the road to steer people around the damaged pavement and to stretch out the timeline that the road will safely be there. Not having cars and trucks drive directly on the damaged sections of pavement will greatly benefit that. Right now, we are stuck. I have received a list of vendors from them, and there's nothing but snow for them to see. So I haven't gone out and spoken to anybody yet because I want them, when I go out and talk to them, I'm going to go to their office in person. I'm going to try to bring them back in person. I want them to have something to look at then. And so as soon as the snow clears and you can see both sides of Henry Clay, I will be out there with vendors and have something more to tell you. And then we have put in order or the requisition for the flexible traffic delineators that will go on Henry Clay and for the post office. It's all part of the same product order.
Okay. Any questions for Jess? Thanks, Jesse. Discussion action regarding, go ahead.
Do we also want to get to there was the request for engineering?
It's in the business.
Great.
No, before I would just also like to say that David and I met and we communicated about the requirements for the delineator placement and spacing. So this is not all me. You know, David has been involved here too.
Can I ask a question? You sent that to me, and I admit that I have not looked at that. But how much was that altogether?
$747.
Okay, you should approve that spending here, if you could. Yeah.
Yes. Detail.
So they had 1,000 and then what should we say?
That's me under budget. That never happened.
Shipping is an incredible thing.
And there may be some incidental costs. The order includes all the hardware and all that good stuff, but Larry may need to purchase some drill bits and such as these have 3 bolts in each.
Okay. Well, that can come out of his supplies, but the purchase itself should be separately. Yeah.
And what's the amount?
Getting there now. Let's see here. $744 plus tax and shipping.
Up to 1,000.
$750 streets, materials and supplies.
I'm sorry, it's coming out of
$750 streets.
Also, 750 wasn't the dollar number. Guys.
Well, 1,000 is the dollar number, up to 1,000. 750 streets, materials and supplies.
I move to approve up to $1,000 for flexible traffic delineators and associated materials and accessories from 750 Streets Materials and Supplies.
There's a second on the motion. Second, Jesse. Excuse me. Discussion? All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We done with that one?
Yes.
All right. Let's go to funding request for Old Time Christmas from the Merchants Association.
These are funds previously approved by the prior town council, and the Merchants Association has provided the appropriate documentation, which was reviewed by Budget and Finance, and they did make the recommendation. So I move to distribute $750 to Valerie Violdo as the 2025 Old Time Christmas Event Coordinator for the Merchants Association out of 402 Economic Development, and $784 to the Merchants Association as reimbursement for greenery as part of the 2025 Old Time Christmas Event out of 906 Arts and Humanities.
Is there a second on that motion? Second from Chris. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Discussion action regarding funding for Parks and Rec 2026 Film Festival.
Same script. This was previously approved for the film festival during public comments. I move to approve $3,870 for Parks and Rec's 2026 Film Festival from 906 Arts and Humanities.
A second on that motion. Second, Chris. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Discussion and action regarding police department vehicles and equipment.
Jess, you've been working on this. Do you want to describe it?
So we are exploring the potential for lease. They call it a lease with Ford for new police vehicles. They have a what was it also term?
Appropriations clause.
Yes, the appropriations clause, which essentially turns this into a financial transaction that we can participate in without encumbering future bodies, councils. And what we discussed was asking or directing Chief Brown to define the specifications for 3 police vehicles fully equipped for police duties, and potentially a subcompact vehicle for the parking attendant. Once we have that information, we will speak to a dealer and have more hard numbers in pricing.
But you got what you needed from
We did
John.
so far, and I believe Deb also spoke to the insurance company, and this is all fully insurable. So we're
Okay.
all the unfun stuff is good.
I'd like to ask if I could help you with the used car part, not the police cruisers. I don't care about that. I'm worried about the used car for the.
Because we're not asking for a used car.
No, we're about brand new one.
Well, yeah, I have 2 motions. One will be for
I
the police vehicle.
I forgot that he's barely going to drive this thing.
For the reasons we don't want to buy a used one, so I don't know if those justify the reasons for a new one, but there are good reasons for not buying a used one. So
Just want to see what
Although you save a lot of money.
costs us a lot of money to keep them fixed.
What are you anticipating for for a small car?
the super smallest subcompact vehicle they have, potentially electric. This is entirely a fact-finding and financial preparation phase. So it's going to be the cheapest, smallest, most electrical wind-up thing we can find. I actually checked, and Ford stopped making go-karts, or I would be pushing for that.
$30,000.
So I think you want to look at this and then go back to the used car.
Yeah, and
I'm just saying.
we hear the
they're not
motion
cheap
is
anymore.
pretty broad as far as what can be looked at. So the first one is I move to have the police chief identify 1 to 3 vehicles comprehensively outfitted for policing, potentially include electric vehicles for potential purchase or lease. A lot of hedging in that.
So try that one more time.
Move to have the police chief identify 1 to 3 different vehicles, as in, a Ford, a Chevy, or whatever. Comprehensively
No,
out.
no.
Is that wrong?
Up to 3 vehicles that so we're looking at replacing up to 3 vehicles
I see.
with a dealer that will probably be the Ford dealer because we don't.
Yeah, they're pretty much it.
All right, correct that. Going again.
How about, I got another.
These are just
All right,
drafts.
provide specifications for up to 3 vehicles and then get rid of all that. Like, what we're trying to do is he needs to give us a spec. We need to go find what he wants.
He needs to work with the dealer
Right.
to find the car,
The
right,
specific
with
cars.
all the
So
bells and whistles on it.
Okay.
And then we go to the financing division.
So he's
gonna go to the dealer.
Chief's going out to these
Yeah,
guys?
this is
I
normal.
thought Jesse was going out there. Okay.
All right, Storm, revision number 4.
Move to have the police chief identify 3 vehicles, up to 3 vehicles, comprehensively outfitted for policing to potentially include electric vehicles for potential lease, purchase or lease. Well,
we
we
have a second.
looking for a car.
We got a second from Chris. Discussion. All right, good job, Storm. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Second motion, move to have the police chief identify a subcompact vehicle for parking enforcement to potentially include electric vehicles for potential purchase or lease.
Second. Second from
Okay,
Jeff.
but I have a
Go ahead.
discussion.
Go ahead, Christian.
On an electric vehicle, you're gonna have a charging station, so you have to incorporate that cost. I just put one in, and they're not, they cost money. You're gonna have to make sure you have the wiring for it, and where you're gonna put it. You're gonna have a designated spot for this electric car.
Fortunately, if we go this route, there is a lot of funding available even from West Virginia for municipal vehicles that are
Maybe
electric.
municipal, not private. Yeah, it's just make sure where you put it. It's a lot better if you put it up along the building.
It's just a potential for right now.
Yeah.
I think the electric vehicle is a smart idea because this vehicle then would never have to leave the town. If it's for parking,
Yeah, good use for.
it's really perfect. Our town's perfect for electric.
It really is.
I'm not going to get into police vehicles, but I'll talk about parking vehicle.
Any other discussion? I think David has his hand up, or
No, I was good.
scratching ear.
Yep.
Okay, no other discussion. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? 7-0, Kevin. Okay, discussion action regarding town hall elevator maintenance. This is always an up and down issue every year.
As long as you have the gate closed.
All right, go ahead, Storm.
You're really pushing my button.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna get to it before you did.
Yes, the elevator requires its 5-year full load safety test, which requires 2 people to conduct. I move to approve $3,690 to pay Oracle Elevator for the 5-year full load safety test for the town hall elevator.
Second on the motion, second Chris. Excuse me, discussion? All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Number C, committee report. Kevin.
Yeah, so we had 4 items on our agenda. We met this past week. On first one was adding a 3rd zoning category to the zoning ordinances and map. The second one was historic and solicitation signage, and the third one was nomination, appointment, and terms of town boards, commissions, and committees. We had a lot of discussion on those 3 items, and work is continuing on them. The 4th item was discussion and action on changing the title of ordinance compliance officer to code enforcement officer. That ordinance will be coming at the next council meeting.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you, Kevin. Discussion action regarding first reading of ordinance 2026-01 business district uses.
A quick question in the previous one though. So we're finding all the references to OCO throughout the other ordinances too, and making those corrections.
Well,
do we have to make
there are
that
a
first?
lot of references to it throughout the ordinances.
Yeah.
So what we decided to do was, in the specific ordinance about the ordinance compliance officer, we'll add a note there that change will apply to everywhere else where it says
Ordinance compliance officer. That's how you handle that. Okay.
Okay.
Right, it's more streamlined.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so Kevin, we're on the first reading of 2026-01 business district.
Yep.
I don't know how you want to handle this, but let's not forget the suggestion by Zach that maybe send this to planning commission. I'm not saying that we send it there. That was a suggestion that he made.
Did he say send this ordinance to the planning commission?
The change. Is that right, Zach? Yeah, the recommended change.
If it doesn't pass.
So this is ordinance 2026-01 business district uses. I don't have a copy of it in front of me.
I happen to have a hard copy right here.
Basically, it specifies, the present ordinance
Just
specifies that, that restaurants are a permitted use in the business district. But they specify that they must be, providing they are 25 feet away from any residential lot. Not a structure, but a lot. So, we presently have, 2 businesses that we qualify as restaurants that do not qualify. And one has been a restaurant since, at least since I moved to town in 2000, or bought property here in 2001. The other one was the newly changed zoning business that had public hearings of that. So we are kind of faced with, if we're going to continue to have this in our ordinances, there are 2 businesses presently operating that need to have
Variance.
I'm sorry. Yeah, and it is a controversial thing to take away this requirement. My thought, and I think the thought of the rest of the ORC, was that any other locations that in the business district that would possibly become restaurants, there would be no danger of them having an impact on residences in town. Now, there was some question about changes of ordinance, or changes of zoning, I'm sorry, that could open up. However, a change of zoning is stricter than going before the BZA or away
Variance.
I'm sorry. And I did a bunch of those. I should remember that word. So we were suggesting that this would be the simplest way to get rid of that requirement, which is not likely to affect future new businesses. Now, Zach, you mentioned the 17 possible business lots. I guess you're saying that would
that could be impacted by this.
Where would those be?
17, that's a lot.
Could I ask if
Go ahead. Let's we're informal enough right now. Just go one-on-one with Jack. Go ahead. Jack, go ahead and respond to Chris.
The 17 number was if you take every currently zoned business lot that is adjacent to a residentially zoned lot. And so that total number is 17, if you include the one that was recently rezoned for the coffee shop. Not saying that would immediately have an impact, but so the discussions being had as to whether it would have an impact, on not just the development of future structures, but things like available parking for staff and visitors from potential restaurants, potential impact of noise, light, air pollution, all these things. Typically, the Planning Commission would at least weigh in on if we're changing the definition of the use of the zoning ordinance. If for a different ordinance, Planning Commission might not, but for zoning, because this unique relationship of zoning, the comprehensive plan, and planning, I would recommend that at least, even if you have the first reading tonight, we can put it on our Planning Commission agenda for next week and give you a report or input before the second reading next month, if that would help. But there's just a lot of variables to consider. That's all.
Yeah. So I do see this as a choice. We are in a situation, partly this council is making, that we can change the ordinance, or we can keep it for some time, have planning look at it. But keep in mind that right now we have 2 businesses operating.
Yeah, but they're kind of on the bubble. You got businesses on the bubble here.
It's actually 3. The bakery as well could be considered under many definitions to be a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yes.
The bakery was number 2.
Oh, well, it's 3.
Yeah. So, yeah, go ahead. So, I think in the best interest of making sure that everybody, this situation is well understood, that we should hear this in planning. We should send it to planning. Well, planning will go over it. Zach said they could get it next week. So a month, one way or the other, is not going to make a difference. And I think that's just the best all the way around.
Yeah, Storm?
Yeah, I agree. I think this is, I have my opinion on it, but do feel like getting down into what that 17 actually means, if there's an impact, I do feel that longer term, it's important to have neighborhood commercial zoning that would solve a lot of this. I know that's not something that is on the future land use map, but that I think the advice from the WVU clinic folks was that really, if you want to be able to do that in the future, it needs to be on the future land use map. That businesses like these have now proved 3 times over along that stretch of Washington Street to be hubs of community. They're scaled to residents, and I feel like the more we can do to provide them certainty that they're going to be able to operate and serve us in these ways is important. But I do agree that it would be good to make sure we're covering, crossing our T's and dotting our I's.
Okay. Anything else, Christian?
I could tell you one thing from a standpoint of as a B&B owner. The people, our guests, appreciate having these businesses nearby. They appreciate having a coffee shop. That's been incredibly important to our guests, visitors, and me. I go to both these places, and every time I go to these places, I see other residents. It's just they have been very good for our town.
Yeah. All right, as I say it, we got 2 courses of action we can choose from. One of them is that we can either approve or disapprove the first reading this evening and send to the Planning Commission, or we can defer first reading and send directly to the planning and then come back for a first reading. Or we could have a third option, which is I have no clue what that would be.
Well, I would like to, go ahead.
Before we move forward on that, if we do the first option, I'd like to have that in 2 separate motions. The approval and then the
Planning Commission.
Yeah.
So I think since we're in the I dotting and T crossing phase here, I think instead of front loading it with a reading, let's send it to planning clean and just get their feedback on it.
I agree with that, but go ahead and make a motion on that.
I move to commit ordinance 2026-01 to Planning Commission for review and report to Town Council at earliest opportunity.
Second on.
I'd say earlier. I'd say by our next meeting. That's too vague. I mean, give them a date.
Yeah, I accept that. Or what? Yeah,
By our next meeting, we have to have that
by the regular
March 9th
March Town Council meeting.
And we have a second from Chris. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed, motion carries 7-0. All right, great. All right, so IOC, anything to report?
Not doing too much, just trying to push
Okay.
to get the people hired.
Yep.
And we also need
That's a
some
big,
job descriptions
big
too.
chore.
Yeah.
Big chore. Stormwater, Storm?
Yeah, there is some progress. So committee members have been in touch with Region 9 and Chesapeake Bay Trust and have been doing fact finding about potential projects. The next step for any project is to secure funding to have them formally engineered from this grant program, after which grants can be secured to have the work done. I did spend one grant cycle reviewing grants for Chesapeake Bay Trust, and they tend to fund projects that are either entirely or substantially on public lands or rights of way, which doesn't leave a lot of options for us on that count. And they have the support of the community and those immediately adjacent to the project that have a dedicated funding source for any ongoing maintenance. These would be for things like bioswales, rain gardens, that they don't want to back that, and then you didn't keep it up and now it doesn't do its job. And then if it comes from municipalities and organizations that have a track record of success in seeing through grant projects, and that applies to anything we would apply for, we want to be sure that we would be able to see it through. Otherwise, we're not going to get a grant from them again if they assigned money where they could have assigned it to someone else. So one of the options that we have looked at is across the street at Town Hall Park and the gully behind it. So this is something that I hosted Chesapeake Bay Trust a couple of years ago on their retreat. And when we walked the entire town, pitching them on this and that, and their eyes lit up when they saw it. They saw an opportunity for load reduction, for staunching sediments, something that is high visibility, something that would be attractive. They also continue to want to work at the park as well. But this is probably the lowest hanging fruit opportunity we have, almost entirely, possibly entirely on our public land. So I would like to move for town council to authorize exploring and pursuing a Chesapeake Bay Trust G3 grant to abate stormwater around the park across from Town Hall and the gully behind it.
And the second is listed on the agenda as discussion only.
Oh, and never mind. That's what I was looking at. But I'll bring it up on 7A.
It's the teaser.
Thank you. That's right.
For the
Sneak
next
peek.
meeting. Yeah.
Just so excited about it.
I think there's a very tight timeline on that.
March
We
13th.
saw it on the tree commission. I don't remember
March 13th.
yeah, that's tight.
That is one of the other reasons for picking the park, is because the people who know all about the park are very easily accessible and easy to work with. And if we go this route, we'll be able to, we can make this happen. But with the park, now the other prospective projects can we get done?
But this is an annual thing. I think this is the deadline every year with them.
They have two grants. This one is the G3 Green Streets, Green Infrastructure, and the other one is larger, heavier engineering.
Yeah.
And I think we have a decent shot at it because they're probably there are not many West Virginia municipalities in their area. So they probably will throw a bone to West Virginia, and if nobody applies except us, we may get it. And if
Nobody has ever taken the Chesapeake Bay Trust funds for West Virginia.
Oh, well, that's even better.
And so
now we got to put the pressure on it.
and this whole project, is as important as everything else. It's also the foundation for a relationship with Chesapeake Bay Trust to show that we can do this.
Shoot, we're on.
That would be our second one. The general plan was theirs.
Oh, right.
But yeah, they're definitely motivated. The best part, one of the best parts is not only is it not town money, it's Maryland's money.
That's
Because
right.
they don't want excess things going into Chesapeake Bay. It's in everybody's interest.
All right, so we'll defer that off. Discussion action regarding potential acquisition of additional vintage radio wave light fixtures. I'm telling you, I've had it with this thing, Christian. Why you put that off on there? I've contacted Rockport, Maine 6 times. I've left 2 email messages, 2 phone call messages to their equivalent of Greg Vaughn. I've left 2 email messages, 2 phone call messages to their equivalent of Patty. I've left 2 email and 2 phone messages to their equivalent of a town manager. I'm not doing it anymore.
Okay, I sent an email to our consultant who turned us on to Rockport, and I haven't heard from him.
You're gonna show up with the
I sent it Saturday, but it's on the deal, and
6 messages.
okay, I don't believe you.
My suggestion is we form a boycott of LO.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it's a lesson for our town. Whenever we get a request from a municipality, we should respond.
You don't answer?
Just say no, not tell them.
You know, I am going up there in July.
Yeah, well,
See the mayor. Yeah, bring a few trucks.
yeah. Discussion action regarding update on the Columbia Street Gate Beautification Project. Christian and I met. We've developed a somewhat of I think, a good strategy and a plan to present to the Swan project manager, and we will be meeting with the Swan project manager.
We're trying to eliminate the fence in front of the barber shop. We're trying to end the fence there, open that up, clean that building up further. They got it pretty far, but they need to finish the painting and the trim and windows,
Door
doors.
glass hanging out.
Yeah, and then they need to put some better signage in front of the little gate, 4-foot gate. And whatever, but they need to make it a whole lot better. It looks like you're walking into a concentration camp. I mean,
Yeah.
with all that change.
So hopefully we'll have a good session with Laurel. But I think we got a good plan.
Just real quick, I was just thinking, why don't we have our lawyer contact the city lawyer for Rockport and establish.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah.
what before.
Lawyer to lawyer.
Yeah, and that's what they do. They open up.
The only now is they definitely go for it.
Yeah, tell them. I mean, they'll get paid $175 and they'll tell us a pound sand or yes. But that way there's no, you can firmly establish communication and we can move on or.
I have moved on, unless somebody wants to pick this up. I mean,
Yeah, I do. All right.
Well, they're there. It's just,
What if we appoint?
Now with-
Linda Rega goes up there more than once a year to Stockton Springs or something. We could appoint her like ambassador or something.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
She does crap around the way.
now watch Jesse call there tomorrow.
Yeah.
And he gets the mayor on the phone and they're shipping free, 20 of them down here. I mean, that would be my luck.
I'm gonna call her lawyer.
Go for it. Do what you need to do. Okay, new business discussion action regarding applying for Chesapeake Bay Trust G3 grant.
Let me tell you about that. You've heard about that. And I move to authorize the Stormwater Committee to explore and pursue a Chesapeake Bay Trust G3 grant to abate stormwater around the park across from Town Hall and the gully behind it.
Second on that, second from Chris. Excuse me, discussion. All those in favor of the motion, opposed, motion carries 7-0. Discussion action regarding town employee driving policy. Driver policy.
Yeah, you were working
Yeah,
on
I
that.
found that, and I'm working on that.
Yeah, you were getting some more information.
What else am I doing?
He said he was gonna write it. I did.
You are it.
I got the stuff.
He's got it. He's on it.
He's just a little distracted this week, that's all.
Yeah.
You didn't send it to Rockport.
I did not. Yes, Jesse, on the next one, let me start on this. Okay, and then you wrap it
Okay, so seriously, I've got it. I think I've got everything I need. Just a matter of my finance officer bugging me to get it done.
Okay.
Discussion action regarding cellular and Wi-Fi signal boosting for public access.
Okay.
Who's got that?
up. I'll start it. I'm gonna kick most of it to Jesse.
Okay.
But, so I volunteered to take on cows. cells on wheels.
Right, sorry.
So I'm
wrong
gonna,
mental image.
yeah, I know. But these are like trailers, like little trailers that are towed up, and then they telescope up these antennas. If these are portable systems on wheels, and they work at they work on like at events, festivals. They move wherever there's a lot of people gathering, and they can set these things up. So this would be something I'm looking into, where we would use it for part of the year, maybe April to October, to help us during our high season. And but I've got to get with Jesse on it, because they're asking me for information for a quote, and then we'll know what it costs.
And this boosts Wi-Fi signal basically.
No, it's actually a cellular.
They're mobile cell towers.
Mobile cell tower. Okay.
Yeah, and I was thinking of an area to do it, and that would be more towards in the TDD if we could get permission from Swan, but on Columbia Street up near the trees on the left up there, they need like 30 by 30 foot opening to be.
They need the physical space, and they also need the transmission window. It's really complicated. So usually the way that works is you reach out to them, they look at the topographic maps of the area, and then as the deal moves forward, at some point, there's a transaction that takes place, and they ship in an engineer who assesses the best place for placement, and power requirements and all that stuff.
So I'm looking into possibly leasing or renting. I'm not talking about buying this stuff. So I don't know what we're getting into, but I've just started the ball rolling. So we'll see. But Jesse, according to his report, which was an excellent report, I read it thoroughly, we have a problem that's going to get only worse as time goes on. It's more than just signal along the street here. It's a lot more. It's safety. We have places where people can't call in if were in an accident, or if they're hiking on the Armory Canal Trail. There's no signal at all down there. And it's growing. The system, people's needs on cellular is growing, and growing a lot. According to the industry, I think it's 30. I think it was reading 30% a year or something.
Yeah, there's a chart in that report.
And if we did this, how are those secured?
Yeah, are they easy to move?
Yeah, they're on they're trailers. Yeah, they can move them. Yeah.
So
this is only one option. Jesse's working a whole bunch of other stuff.
Go ahead, Jesse.
The cows can be moved, but they're typically they put a stake in the road and with a chain through it. And that was one of the questions that when Krishna spoke first, was to find out about the insurance liabilities. Who's on the hook for that? If somebody sets one on fire because it's hilarious, or steals one, who owes for that?
Tips it over.
Yeah. It's like you get paid for this.
You started. Right?
I don't have anything to add since our last meeting, but I would like to say thank you to Christian. He contacted me after that meeting and asked if he could help, and volunteered to do this. And it's a big deal. It's there's little opportunities that talk to cell network salespeople, and Christian is on it, and it is valuable. No matter what we decide. And thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I'm quite a fan of cow tipping, but I don't think so in this case. All right, any other before we move on? Right, remember, discussion and action regarding town hall building maintenance cleaning. I've got a request to do a deep cleaning. And to my knowledge, I cannot recall a deep cleaning in town hall offices ever, which would include the carpet, which would include the ductwork. And I am suggesting that we do a deep clean all around.
Yep.
And again, I have no recollection. None ever happened when I've been mayor. None ever happened when Joe was mayor. I don't know about Jim, or I don't know about Wayne, but I just can't imagine that that's ever done. I think we're long overdue for that. So we have a request. Is this for the total price, Debbie? $1,007.50.
one is $1,007 and the other's $1,172.
Okay,
So you have a total of call it $2,300.
yeah. And this is by Stanley?
Stanley Steamer.
Okay. So that's where we are. I just think it's something that we have been negligent in and have overlooked.
I didn't look at that at length. Do you guys feel like it's covering, like, is it just doing ductwork? Is it baseboard, bathroom?
And all the carpets
Mm-hmm.
deep cleaned, and then in the police department, some of the flooring down there needs to be done. We didn't have this floor done because it's hardwood, but that's the extent of it. Our cleaning service, if we wanted to have more like baseboard stuff, we would hire them for that.
Yeah.
This is stuff that needs equipment.
Yeah.
Would the post office be involved at all?
That's a separate contract. We deal.
They're responsible.
That's, yeah.
Yeah, but as far as ductwork, are we connected?
I can tell you from owning a business where we have people staying all the time, every once a year, we pretty much take a deep clean of you cannot, on your daily, the clean you do daily is not enough. You really need to have once a year or so. If this has been decades since it's been done.
Yeah.
I move to authorize.
Just living in the carpet.
Go ahead, sir.
I move to authorize up to $2,500 to conduct a deep cleaning of town hall, including carpets and ductwork.
Second on the motion, second, Chris, discussion. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed, motion carries 7-0. Discussion and action regarding request for engineering A&E quals. That was, this is going to be probably a marriage of something that we do with Green Ridge.
Oh, this was, I think, the less engineered solution.
No, this is looking for essentially an engineer on retainer.
Right.
Reach out to and discuss for.
Right.
You mentioned that last meeting.
And I think Deb, I don't remember who.
Good idea.
Was it HEPMA or Region 9 or?
Region 9 will shepherd us through this to make sure that we do everything in compliance and have all the opportunities that we are afforded to do interviews, etc. So you have on the draft paper, you have what we worked up with budget and finance to revise, and the only thing that isn't solid in there are the dates, which Storm has a motion about. So.
And how does it, so mechanically, how does this work?
Okay.
We're doing we're doing.
This will go in the paper for 2 weeks. It's requesting. It will also go to engineering firms. That's another reason we'll send it over to Region 9.
I'm just talking about post hire. What does it look like? What is that? How does that work for us?
It's by the hour, like a lawyer, and we would use them for anything that you have. Like, let's say that you wanted to do a playground, or you have the Henry Clay project that it ends up needing a lot more engineering. That would be a person you would be consulting with. You would have to be chasing around an engineer. If planning needs assistance with the plan review and things like that, that would be someone that they
Is
call.
this a civil engineer you're looking for?
No, in general, it would be an engineering firm that would have all of the.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember you guys talking about that. Now, right.
But this is also who will be for the technical validation ordinance that we talked about. That they would be who reviewed all that stuff.
And many of these firms have a broad range of types of engineers, so we're not looking for something.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember now.
Oh, I move to approve the notice of request for engineering / architectural qualifications and associated processes with the bid going live within the month of February 2026 to be published 2 consecutive weeks in the spirit, with the opening bid date to be 2 to 4 weeks after the bid goes live, and for town council to assign a review panel.
Is there a second on that? Second, Chris, discussion? All those in favor of the motion? Opposed, motion carries 7-0. Debbie,
Which leaves assigning the review panel.
we're done with that one?
No,
What do we got?
That's as
sorry,
far as we
review
got.
panel.
That's as far as we got, but
The volunteers, at least, you really should have at least 2, 3 would be best. Jesse is raised hand over there. Dave, Christian. All right. Off to the races we go.
We're good to go?
do we need to formally impanel them?
It's up to you.
And then next year, when you work in the budget, you're gonna work in a certain amount of money for this.
Yeah.
Retainer.
Like your legal fees.
Right.
So there'll be something on the budget line.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Discussion action regarding specs on submitted invoice. Can we do this in the clear or do we have to go in executive session?
I think we should go in that. It's deeply.
Okay.
So, but do we need to formally impanel those 3 people? We never answered that question.
Do not remember.
Do we need to officially impanel the engineer review?
Yeah.
committees?
We should.
But that's for, there's 2 different things.
Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, you want to do it?
Sure. Move to appoint Jesse Melton, David Simmons, and Christian Petrikonis to the engineering architectural qualifications
Review
panel.
There you go.
The collection panel.
Unbelievable. Is there a second on that? Second from Jesse, discussion. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed, motion carries 7-0.
I wanted to be called a commission, but okay, I'll.
All right, Debbie, what are we going in executive session for? This is action specs on submitted invoice.
Oh.
All right. One suggestion that we go into executive session.
We do. We do. Yeah, good idea.
Based upon exceptions from 698-4, section 9, to consider matters involving or affecting purchase or lease of property, advanced construction planning, investment of public funds, et cetera, et cetera. I have a motion to go into executive session from Chris. We have a second from David. Discussion, all those in favor of the motion? Motion 7-0, we're in executive session. Kevin, at 9:30 PM, I'm authorizing finance officer to be present.
right. Okay, you're right
Alright.
here.
I move we
This
adjourn.
last 10
Second. Jesse, discussion. I mean, no discussion. All those in favor of adjourning, motion carries. We are adjourned at 10.